So guys, it officially happened. It has officially happened. The Bronny James era has started, with Bronny James actually checking into the game. The man checked into the game in his rookie season. I did not think Bronny James was going to play. I was shocked that he played an NBA minute this season. If you'd asked me a year ago, I'm kind of shocked. But at the same time, when I say that I'm shocked, it's also completely true that Bronny James was guaranteed to play in this game. And he was awful in preseason. He was absolutely horrendous in preseason. A lot of the time being surrounded by decent but not brilliant NBA players, sometimes with LeBron and not going 100%. He really, really struggled. But I will say, in yesterday's game, the guy played 2 minutes. Was -5 when he played. He was second lowest on the team in plus minus, only to LeBron James. The two Jameses were the two last in plus minus. And he didn't do anything wrong. I will say it's probably easy enough to not look completely out of place when you're playing 2 minutes and 40 seconds. But at the same time, it's still like, you can look in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. You can look absolutely out of place in the NBA. And I gotta give credit to him. He didn't. But it was, again, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I'm not saying he's an NBA player or anything. Heck, Anthony Edwards technically was shooting 0% while being guarded by Bronny James. But they couldn't just pick on him every single possession. But yeah, this here, Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley say Bronny needs to focus on getting better. The problem with Bronny is that he's never going to be an NBA player, and that's just being honest. He's a non-shooting, non-point guard, 6'1", mediocre defender who can't really create for himself off the dribble and doesn't have NBA level athleticism. And even though you would think he's got the best genetics, he really doesn't. He, as much as compared to myself, he hit the genetic lottery. Compared to you guys, he hit the genetic lottery. But compared to, I'm just trying to think of the rookies. Compared to a Zachary Risachet, he did not hit the genetic lottery. He's 6'1". He's literally, his measurements, obviously, vertical, way higher than mine. In my peak, I was just about getting it down in warm-ups. But, we're both 6'1.5", 6'7" wingspans. He's got them Mick talks hoops, man. He's got them Mick measurements. You gotta be elite. You gotta be Jalen Suggs good. And defense kind of get away with those measurements. Bronny's a prospect, number one. I'm glad he's healthy. The retired Hall of Fame player said, which is obviously that's the main thing. I think he should be in the G League now. He's not ready to play in the NBA. He should be in the G League because he's not ready to play in the NBA. I don't think he's ready to play in the G League. His best attribute is a defender. And the one big problem with Bronny James is he's not actually a very good defender. He's just so bad on offense that people are calling him a defender. And for me anyway, that's just the one thing I have bet all this. And this is, we have got here Mad Dog talking about it, and let's listen to what he said on ESPN.
Nobody in America, this might be fun for LeBron, nobody in America cares that Bronny James played
obviously 1.5 times speed.
3 minutes and grabbed 1 rebound and at 11 o'clock at night in the opener, and this is supposed to be a moment that America is going to resonate with. I mean,
to be fair, there's a lot of nepotism that goes on in America and all around the world. So yeah, a lot of people will resonate with nepotism. It happens.
Come on, I'm being serious now, and I love the kid. All right, we know we had the major issue at USC, and LeBron's great. He's an all-timer. He's always been a phenomenal player. He stays out of trouble. Who doesn't like LeBron? I mean, he's not Jordan, but who doesn't love LeBron? Everybody loves LeBron. But to make a big deal because JJ, and I love Reddit.
Bron greater than Jordan. You're gonna unsubscribe from that. For that, unsubscribe. Bron's the greatest ever.
I'm rooting for him hard here. Yeah, but the idea that he put him in for 3 minutes, he grabbed him in a couple of shots, and this is the greatest moment in professional sports.
We gotta be serious. They made history. Well, it's LeBron James.
Ken Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey made history.
He's one of the greatest players of all time. The ultimate dream.
All I'm gonna say is that it is the equivalent. Bringing Bronny James in is the equivalent of, let's just say hypothetically, in next year's draft, Carmelo Anthony's kid gets drafted, and a team bringing back a 41-year-old Carmelo Anthony to play a game. Or if, let's just say, Zaire Wade was good enough. Because I know he could have been drafted in like 2021. If Zaire Wade was good enough, and then you bring back old Dwayne Wade to play a game. Like, that's what it would be the equivalent of. Like, this is history for history's sake. And I think it is cool, but I think he's on the money.
Give Bronny his 3 minutes. We'll put him in late in the game. JJ making sure it's a big family moment. We can all give him a standing ovation. We'll get the Griffies there. It's not a sports moment. To me, there's a fakeness to it. It's great for LeBron. And if that's the idea, fine. I'll give you that. But from a sports fan's perspective, I don't think anybody is walking around, a sports fan, not an old white guy like me, a sports fan. I don't think anybody's walking around America saying, wow, did you see that Bronny James played with his father last night? That's not happening. You can.
I actually have to agree with Mad Dog. I have to agree with Mad Dog there. That, like, this is if you're a non-sports fan being like, oh my God, LeBron just played a game with his kid. If you're an NBA fan, like a lot of people talking about the moment, but in a lot of ways, the moment had been fabricated. We all know that the moment was fabricated. We all know that, like, Bronny James is not good enough to be in the NBA right now. We all know realistically that it's unlikely Bronny James is ever going to be good enough to be in the NBA. But yeah, so that is pretty much it about Bronny. Like, I do think when it comes to Bronny James that a lot of people are, a lot of people think people are wanting Bronny James to not succeed. I think a lot of people, it's very few people that, like, even if you don't like LeBron James, I think very few people dislike Bronny James himself. I think the reality is that it's not necessarily people not wanting him to succeed, but what it is people just saying, you know what, Bronny's just not good enough, and people don't like being lied to and being told that, you know, this guy is all that, when the reality is, like, he's not even on the stratosphere of being an NBA player. So yeah, that is pretty much it. The NBA media had reacted. Charles Barkley, Shaq saying he's not good enough. Heck, Mad Dog even saying that it's not even a sports moment. And I agree. With that. At the end of the day, it is cool. It's cool to see brothers playing each other. It's cool to see. It is very much a historic situation. But I will say, it was 100%, at least partially, just fabricated by making it a big deal rather than Bronny James deserving to be an NBA player. Even though he wasn't horrendously bad yesterday, he is still literally the worst player in the NBA. Like, he is the worst player. I think he is the worst 6'1" player in the NBA in the last 20 years. There are worse players than Bronny James that have been in the NBA, but they were all like 6'10" athletes that people thought were project players. And sometimes they were 5 years away from being 5 years away, like Bruno Caboclo. Like, we've seen guys. I think Bronny James is as good as Costa Antetokounmpo was when he was drafted, but Costa was 6'10", same height as Giannis with long arms, and they thought they could have turned him into Giannis. Thanasis is 100 times better than Bronny James, by the way, but Costa sucked. But yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys.